All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation, man. Special edition of Knicks Fan TV. It's playoff time. It's money time. But this is a conversation that I've been wanting to have for a long time. My guy Eddie Huang is in the building.
Let's go.
Lifelong Knicks fan, media mogul, you name it, man. New Yorker, like this is my guy, man. And we chop it up offline all the time, but this is our time to officially get it on wax, if you will. Eddie, welcome to Knicks Fan TV, man.
Yo, I'm hyped. This the show that's been on the bucket list that I want to be on. Like, for real, this is my favorite show to listen to, so it means a lot to be on Knicks Fan TV today.
Yeah, nah, man, it's an honor to have you on, man. You're one of the guys who, you know, when I was building up this platform, a guy who I would see on various platforms, for, you know, just really watching and taking in how you built your platform up. It's really inspired me to build mine, man. So I definitely appreciate you rocking with us. How'd you find us, by the way?
Thank you, brother. No, you know, my thing was I was just like watching clips online because anytime the Knicks lose, I go online looking to see if anybody saw what I saw. And before Knicks Fan TV, there just wasn't anywhere to go. Like, I would just blow up my boy Raf's phone or blow up group chats like, yo, did you see he didn't get over the screen? Like, This guy's not helping, this guy's not rotating. And you feel insane as a Knicks fan if you don't have anyone to be like, yeah, I saw that too. And I started to see clips of yours, and your analysis was just always dead on. Like, I don't think I have ever disagreed with your analysis. The only time I can even remember being like, yo, I got to hit CP on the side and see what he thinks is like when there was all the talk about getting Donovan. And I think we were on the same page of like, yo, I love Spider, but it's just he plays that brand of like selfish pound the pavement basketball that Kenny Atkinson has actually got him off of. But I remember us both talking like, I don't know if he's the dude to max.
Right.
You know, and it was your analysis. Like, that's what I'm here for. And then it's just been ill to watch how you don't got like a daddy. You don't got no godfather, like putting the battery in your back, opening the doors. Like, the fans elected you, dog. Like, that's been the illest shit to see for me as a fan is like, usually there's people representing a team you love and they're not the person you nominated or you elected. And it's like, no, we voted for CP and CP won. You know?
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it, man. We just crossed 90,000 subscribers at the time of this recording, and it's rewarding, man, because we get a lot of those same sentiments, like just fans looking for that platform of that person who kind of voices their opinion the same way, or just a platform where after the game it's like, man, like, did somebody feel how I felt on this player? Did somebody feel the way that I felt about how we handled this game? Or was somebody as, you know, through the roof as me when we won that game? You know what I mean? It's just...
And your comment section is like the club. You know, like Cormega in there.
Yeah.
Nero's
Chuck
in
D,
there.
Ron Manimal, man.
Yo, all the ill Knicks fans is there. And if you grew up, you know, as just like a New York head, you just seeing everybody you love talking the Knicks, and everybody, it's like egalitarian. Like, nobody's famous in there.
Right.
It's just we just saying how we feel about the team right now.
That's what Chuck says all the time. He's like, yo, I'm just here in the fan seats. That's what Chuck D calls it, fan seats. So before our live show and post game, he's in the chat, vibing with the people. He's on play-by-play. He's on every show. And he's a guy, he travels back and forth both coasts all the time, but he never misses a show, man. So it's that type of dedication from the fan base that puts the battery in my back to be like, yo, keep going, man, because the people love it, man.
Yeah, and my favorite shit is when we get a trade. Like, I'm on the YouTube in the live, like, yo, what's he think about this trade? And it's just the best community. Like, for real, it's just where I hang out. Yeah, you know,
you're rocking the big Ragu jersey. What's your Knicks fan origin story, by the way?
Okay, so I was born in DC. Like, my parents lived in Silver Spring, Maryland, when I was born, but it's like the DC area. Yeah, and you know, obviously Patrick was at Georgetown, and I just followed Patrick from the Georgetown days. I was a huge Patrick Ewing fan, and from there I just stayed with him. You know, I think maybe there was a couple years when AI was with the Sixers that I also clapped for the Sixers, but it was Knicks #1. Yeah. And then Sixers #2, I would clap for the Yao Ming Rockets because he's Chinese.
Sure, you know? Sure.
But it was always Knicks #1 because of Patrick.
Yeah. That was it was, you know, for people from our generation, like when you saw him and the way that he, look, like ringless aside, the work ethic. You could never say that he cheated the game. You could never say that he took nights off. Like, you saw it. He wore it. He wore that hard work and dedication to the team, to the city, and to the jersey, man.
Yeah, and my parents are immigrants from Taiwan. So when we came, we were like looking for role models that also kind of paralleled our upbringing and the values we had. And John Thompson was that dude.
Sure. Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, rest in peace, John Thompson. And my dad always looked up to John Thompson and told me, like, yo, that's a real coach. That's a real man. And then to watch Patrick, like, grow with those lessons. Like, obviously, I was super young, but he was always telling me about John Thompson and Patrick. So by the time I was like 5 or 6, I already understood, and I always rocked with Patrick and the Knicks.
For sure, man. As we look towards at this team, this current iteration of the team, this year was different than previous years under the Tibs regime, right? Like, the last few years of making the playoffs, it was, man, you know, we're here with the underdog story. Let's go make some noise.
Yeah.
And now with the trades and the expectations, some in the fan base, I feel like it's almost a divide where some is just like, yo, we made a mistake. We're just not there yet. And then others are like, yo, let's appreciate where we are.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on it?
Look, I absolutely think the Towns trade was a great trade. We robbed them. I love Dante. I stay rocking the Dante because I think his spirit is missing. That fight is missing. And I miss fucking Dante, but Towns is an elite player. He's completely changed the face of our offense. I don't completely blame him for the defense. We're going to get to it. The Mikal Bridges trade is the one where I'm like, bro, love the Sellies, love the Villanova Wildcats coming together.
Yeah.
But, brother, you got to cut people off when they're going to the rack. Like, Mikal is always shadowing people and kind of trailing, following them on defense instead of rerouting. He's never getting them off their spots. And, like, on your last episode, you were talking about how you want to get Wingstop on Cade. I fully agree it's got to be Wingstop because he's the only one stopping dribble penetration and getting people off their spots.
In OG.
Yeah, OG. Sure. OG's the only one doing it. And, like, Mikal, man, he's in front of guys, and you see him, he's there, but it's like that guy on your rec league team or your basketball team where you're like, all right, you can't say he's playing bad defense, but he's not forcing the offensive player to change what they want to do. You're not dictating.
Yeah, the team is interesting, man. Like, I'd say it all the time that it's a hard team to compose in terms of winning a championship because while there's different ways to do it, like the Detroit Pistons when they had Sheed and Billups and those guys, right? The only homegrown product they had was like a Tayshaun Prince, right? Yeah. But Toronto Raptors, same thing. If they took their homegrown product into DeMar DeRozan, flipped him into Kawhi Leonard, they traded for Marc Gasol. A lot of those were trades and like second-round picks. It's very difficult to do that without your homegrown talent leading you there. That's what Boston has. Cleveland to a certain degree. Even though they traded for Spider and they traded for like DeAndre Hunter, they have Garland and Mobley. Those two guys are lottery picks. Both, I think, were picked 4th, respectively. So that Denver, same way. So what the Knicks are doing, it's very difficult. Luck has a lot to do with it. Like bringing in Jalen Brunson where nobody, including his father, knew he was going to balloon into a superstar. Like that was a major, major turning point for this franchise in terms of how they wanted to build it because RJ was a good player. I'm rooting for him in Toronto. Not necessarily a championship caliber player. Obi wasn't that guy. You know, quickly, again, good player, but we didn't have that draft pick that could turn into an all-star where we could build a team around. So they had to kind of shuffle the decks to kind of raise their ceiling a bit. And it was just unfortunate that, number one, with the Towns trade, you had to trade Dante. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein to this. That was a paperwork loss. Man, come on. CBA loss.
Yeah.
Right? And that was a major loss in terms of their grit, their rebound, and their defense, especially when he didn't have a healthy Mitchell Robinson. So I agree with Leon and the approach, but there's a lot of luck that's going to have to play into it for them to really contend. The one thing I could say on the plus side is that these guys are still young. They're still in their prime. So we just have to hope that they can hit another level with more chemistry and how they round out the bench.
Yeah, like you in the food too. And it's like there's some of these fine dining chefs, they're shopping chefs. They go buy the expensive ingredients and then they just serve you that ingredient. it's like when it's a homegrown talent, it's like you cook that shit. You skilled it, you know?
Right.
And there's a different relationship between the homegrown player. Like, Mitch is the only one. And you can see, like, Mitch has a different pride in being a Knick. Like, when anytime there's rumors about Mitch is online like, oh, okay, I hear you talking about me. Like, he wants to be a Knick. He really takes pride in that. And, like, obviously, JB is the captain. I believe in the captain. I think this is just, like, it's not a championship it's not a championship hangover because we didn't win nothing last year, but there was a like JB captain coming out party this summer. He got all the commercials, they got the pod popping. Like, I'm really happy to see my man get money, especially because he's giving us the hometown discount, but we just got to lock in. Because I do think there's a bit of a distraction. I mean, we got the March Madness commercial, and these things are wonderful, but it's time to lock in. We got to handle business because, like, anyone in entertainment knows, you don't handle your business, there are no advertisements next year.
Yeah, that's
true. So if you like to add money,
that's true.
Lock in. Let's run these fucking Pistons out the building. Sorry, I shouldn't curse on
the
show.
It's a family show, but
okay,
well,
cool.
we here.
Sorry
It's
about
all,
that.
it's all
sorry
good,
about
man.
that.
It's all good.
Yeah, but I want us, we got to run them out of the building.
Yeah.
Because, like, as you said in the last episode, they're not good in transition. We have to hit the glass. We got to work hard. We got to run them out.
Yeah. They have to match that work, because that's what the Pistons are going to bring into this thing, right? No pressure, work hard, play physical. And that was the one thing, even though, like, I didn't take much stock in that last loss to them, one thing was for sure is that in the second half, they turned up their intensity, they turned up their physicality, and gave the Knicks a little bit of a preview, like, yo, this is what you're going to be seeing every game.
Yeah.
You know, so the Knicks have to be on guard for that. I'm looking for them to tighten up, especially this. But see, this is why you mentioned Mitchell Robinson. Like, why he's key for me in this series is to limit the Pistons in transition by getting after it on the glass, getting the second chance opportunities, getting after it on the defensive glass. Like, you want to do whatever you can to muddy things up for the Pistons to keep them as a half-court team. Yeah. Because then that plays into the Knicks' strength when it comes to half-court defense, so you put Mitchell Robinson out there.
I think we have to start Mitch, and it's. I try not to hate on Towns. I try to get fans to just understand, like, accept this man for who he is. You remember that show, Captain Planet?
Sure.
Everyone always clowning the kid with the heart ring. It was like, the heart kid.
Yeah.
But it was the most powerful ring, and you had to protect him. Like, that's Karl. We have to protect Towns because he unlocks everything offensively.
Yeah.
Nobody else got a skill like that on the floor. And we can play any team and just know, like, we have the best shooting big man on the floor. And you are going to have to deal with that. So I think Mitch got to be his bodyguard. And like you said, we lost Dante, we lost Isaiah. Those are two of our three toughest guys from last year. Mitch would be the third one for me. And that man, Isaiah Stewart, is a problem.
Yeah.
He not that skilled, but he is going to drag you to hell.
Yeah, he didn't give up an inch when Towns was trying to back him down.
None.
Didn't give up an inch.
None. And it almost looked like those old blooper reels they would show, like Towns trying to back down Draymond Green.
Yeah.
And I just wonder sometimes if Tibs is watching the game and if he says anything. Because if I'm coaching Towns, I'm going to say, yo, you don't got to prove nothing. You don't got to run through that wall. That's Isaiah Stewart is giving you nothing. He taking no shorts.
Yeah.
Pop out. Drag him out, because that's where he's in your world.
Right.
And I think too many times we got players on the Knicks that are trying, they can hear the criticism and they're trying to prove people wrong. And I just hope Tibbs is in that locker room saying, like, Karl, be you. Be you. You're not a tough guy.
Yeah.
You know, like, the worst thing is like, you don't want him cheddar bobbing himself.
Right.
You know, like, because Towns ain't built like that. Just pop out, get your shots, do that, because you open up the whole offense.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. It's like in those situations where you don't have that advantage in the post, your shooting is your main strength. So step out, and hopefully you knock a couple down. And once you do that, as they try to get closer to close off your airspace, maybe you find guys cutting to the basket. You know, things can happen because Towns is a great passer. That's another strength of his. And where the Knicks offense gets a little bit more dynamic, especially in the half court, is when Wingstop starts cutting off of those Towns, you know, stepping out onto the perimeter and the pinch post. They get more dangerous that way, especially in the half court. So how he handles this series and in the playoffs period mentally is a big question mark for me. Because that was one of the things when they traded Julius for Towns. People were like, what do you think? My main comment was question mark for a question mark. Because you just don't know what you're going to get from these guys in the playoffs. But for Towns, they're going to need him to be the best version of himself. No question about it.
Yeah, and on the opposite side of the floor, like, I would just like to see more sets to diversify the offense with, like, OG flashing, catching around 18, 19, and then Mikal sliding, you know, that banana cut. Play high-low with those two.
Yeah.
Because, like, whoever Asor Thompson is covering, you know, like, try to have that guy top and try to have the other guy low.
Right.
Pause. And, you know, because Mikal on a post-up, 8 to 9 feet out, bro, count it. Count that.
Yeah.
And right now, OG is putting anybody in the bucket. So I just think we're way too predictable because every time we come down the floor, it's JB Towns pick and roll.
Right.
Mikal standing in a corner. He got no rhythm. I think we got to come out and establish those two first because we already know what's in the bag with JB and Towns.
I think what we've seen from Mikal this year, while it's been evident that he's struggled with the role, both offensively and defensively, it's a lot of mouths to feed. There's 5 guys who want the ball in their hands to make things happen. You don't see a lot of that in the NBA. Like with Boston, they have 5 guys who are dangerous, but Derek White doesn't need it. Drew Holiday doesn't need it. They'll fill in and be efficient when they have it. But they'll let Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum control everything. That's what makes Boston so dangerous. With the Knicks, I think especially with Mikal, he's shown that when JB's not available or Josh is not available or Towns is not available, that's when he accelerates in his role, both offensively and defensively. That's when you see the more complete games from him. So to me, they got to get him going early. Especially when they get into the half court, go to that mid-range because it's filthy.
Yeah.
Right? Get him into a rhythm early so that defensively, now he's locked in. If he's got to draw the Cade assignment, he's dialed in. Yeah. And that's how you get the best version of him.
Yeah, because I don't blame Mikal. I mean, we've had him standing in the corner for 60 games. So it's like, what did we expect? People, you know, it's disappointing we traded 5 picks and we didn't get that much production, but I really think that's on the coach. Like, I think a lot of that's on coach. And if we're going to start Mitch, which, like, we both agree we got to do, I think you got to put Mitch in the pick and roll with JB so he's a threat. You got to cover him. Because Towns, no one's leaving Towns in a corner.
That's right.
You know? Yeah. Don't put Towns in the pick and roll. Put Mitch in the pick and roll.
A few things, especially when you think about Mitch. What have you thought about Hart, his struggles, and playoff potential?
So I definitely think Josh Hart belongs as the 6th man on this team. And he's still like the heart and hustle of this team. I really respect that man's work ethic and attitude. But I think sometimes him and Josh, we run too many Josh Hart, JB pick and rolls because I just don't see where that matchup favors us. Because when Josh pops, he doesn't want to shoot. And, you know, I do think part of it's that they're like best friends and all that, but it's not the best set for the team to run. I think Josh also is so active cutting, but he's cutting into OG space. He's cutting into Mikal's space. And the spacing of the team is off because he can't shoot. And he also is very eager to help. And, you know, like I work with guys like that in the kitchen. I work with guys like that on set. Their heart is in the right place. But it's just like, let me put you in a set where you can be the Tasmanian devil. Because Josh, when he gets aboard, bro, he wants to go. And like we said, that's a Pistons weakness. Let Josh get all the shots he wants in the second unit. Let him, you know, run the team if he wants to off the glass. I think Josh is going to do even better in the second unit than the first because he's creating traffic jams a lot on offense.
Who else would you bring off the bench?
Okay, Josh first. Precious is balling. I love Precious, and I actually think Precious and Josh could do real damage in the second unit. Landry Shamet has really found his shot
He's hot.
and his form.
Yeah.
That man is jumping off one leg, 183s in the corner. Like, he's feeling himself. And when a player is feeling himself, like, I want to get them to rock. Those would be the 3 I really trust. I don't trust Campaign. Campaign, just even in the way he plays, reminds me of Randall in some ways, where he's looking at the crowd. He's looking to see if anybody saw what he did or what happened, and is very performative. He's a thespian out there.
Yeah.
I just like to see a dude who's locked in.
Yeah.
I like to see a person who can block out the noise and block out everything going on. And I'm just here to ball.
Yeah. How about Deuce?
Oh, come on. Yeah, Deuce. Deuce might have the second best jumper set shot on the team right now, I think, besides Karl. Deuce is an automatic for me. My bad, Deuce. Yeah, I was trying to be clever, but no, Deuce has been locked in all season, and anytime he's needed to step up, he's been great. I think we can all just be honest, he's not a point guard.
Right.
Even though he says he is a point guard and things like that, Deuce is not a point guard. He's a combo guard. He's a football player in a combo guard's body, and I also think he got the nasty.
Yes. He has that grit.
Yeah.
Deuce has the grit, man, and that's why I think his role, he to me is one of the most important bench pieces, included because I do assume that Tibs is still going to bring Mitch off the bench. Mitch is to me one of the most important, but Deuce, from his shot creating potential, when you need shot creators in the playoffs, when defenses are barreling down and even pressure's ratcheting up, how they get him the ball though, and who he's playing with, is very important. Like, he's had so much success with playing with JB. I believe it's JB, Deuce, it's Hart, OG, and Cat. Like, you have to figure out the optimal lineups to get Deuce the ball, because campaign is not it.
No.
So I think it's like, if he's not going to be out there playing with JB, it definitely has to be Towns. Then you play inside out. You know what I mean? Like, they need an engine to help get the ball around so that Deuce gets it back and he can get in his bag. I think far too often you may see times where he's on the ball so much, and with the lack of separation skills, he'll force up a contested shot where it might go in, but it's not as easy for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the other thing that I like that they get to run for Deuce in the second unit is him coming off curls and down screens to pop. And it's like, if Josh Hart's bringing the ball up, all right, cool, that's good, because now somebody has to defend Josh because he got the ball in his hand. I want to see us run Deuce on those old Reggie Miller cuts or those Rip Hamilton cuts, and that's another thing I think we need to do for McHale in the starting unit.
Yeah.
Just curl and pop.
Those Rip Hamilton plays.
Yeah.
Lethal.
And we never do it for McHale. Like, if you just start the game, first two possessions, you'll run him on a 15, 16-foot curl. Bro, McHale is money. He got the best mid-range in the game, and we not even utilizing.
Yeah.
So I think Deuce is basically the McHale of the second unit, and Deuce is a tough defender too.
Yeah.
I think if we have trouble with dribble penetration, Tibs needs to think about getting Deuce in the game earlier. Especially
with Hart, because I'm not yet sure. I still believe Hart is going to be a playoff riser because he's shown us that over the last 2 years. So it's hard for me to really count him out, even though he didn't finish the season as well. Especially defensively, because I feel like maybe he's conserving some things. Maybe the knee's an issue and he's kind of just holding back. You don't want to give 100% effort in the end of the regular season. But if his defense is still faltering, I gotta get Deuce out there.
Yeah.
I have to get Deuce out there and get that intensity, because to me, one thing, especially if this team struggles in the half court, defense to offense, man. They have enough gritty defenders, from Deuce to OG to Mitch. It Precious is that, they have enough guys to get that grit going where they can get out in transition, get some easy buckets.
Yeah, and you see it in a lot of the games against the top three teams, OKC, Boston, Cleveland. We'll get a lead up. How do we get the lead up? Playing defense, taking smart shots, getting extra rebounds, getting extra possessions. Then, because Tibs don't use the bench, these guys run out of gas. We get ran out of the building the last quarter.
Yeah.
Always is happening, and so I think we absolutely got to get Deuce into the game earlier.
Yeah. I would even, a lot of fans liked what they saw with Delon Wright when he finished the season. There was a whole Wright-Kolek dynamic, and I didn't mind it. Listen, I like Tyler. He's a good player, and he's a very important piece going forward. But I liked Wright's grit and his size. I always like bigger guards, right?
Yeah.
And he's got the wingspan. He plays smart. I would say against a team like Detroit, especially against Schroeder, because Schroeder's going to be, to me, their X factor coming off the bench. He's an energy guy, especially in games 3 and 4 with the crowd behind him. Schroeder's that guy that can get it going in bunches. He's got the experience. He's played on a number of teams. He's got the FIBA experience. I wanted when he got bought out by Utah. I wish we could have had the money to pick him up, but I want guys to be able to get out there and slow him down, from Deuce and maybe even it's a Delon Wright.
Yeah, and I really believe in Tyler, the Creator, going forward.
Yeah.
Like, I love the way he runs the offense, but it's just defense right now. Like, we got too many soft spots on defense to bring another one on. What about PJ Tucker? Like, I like PJ. I think there's a spot for him in this series, but what do you think?
I think there's definitely a spot for PJ out there. They need his toughness. They need his grit. I think that's why we saw him play damn near 30 minutes in the season finale against the Nets. They're ramping him up, and it could be a more break-glass situation. Like, I still think Precious will get that nod over him in terms of being the backup to Mitch and Towns, kind of being that next front court guy in there. But, hey, for a corner 3, for a player with some experience. And look, if he's out there guarding like an Isaiah Stewart or maybe a Duren, like, I don't have any issues putting PJ Tucker out there, man. I put him in there in a heartbeat if we needed to.
Yeah, I'd actually even be curious to see, like, maybe on Thompson, a sort, like maybe he could get on him, because that guy's not really a shooter like that. And PJ's just the type of guy that I know will get under somebody's skin.
Yeah,
that's veteran shit that will throw another young team off. Yeah. So I would love to see some PJ Tucker minutes.
Even with just the fundamentals of just boxing out and securing a rebound. Like, so many times with this team, that's been one of the most frustrating things with this team, is just the mental lapses. Just not shoring up the details, the 50-50 balls. I do believe they'll get after it in the playoffs, just knowing that the expectations and the stakes are higher. But a guy like PJ, like, that's just automatic for him. And he's brought in, he mentioned it, he's been the guy to be brought in to kind of set an example for these guys. Yeah. Whether being a leader, a voice, but I think on the court, he wants to set that example and get his playing time.
Yeah, and the thing that I have never seen us fix since game 1 of this season, that's so disappointing because we've been good at it ever since Tibs is here, is rotating and getting people off the three-point line. From Mikhail to JB to Towns, sometimes even Hart this season, we know the rotation, and they're waiting till the guy pulls up for the shot before you rotate. I think when the ball moves, you just got to know to rotate and close out. That's the number one thing for the Knicks, is just close out hard. We have to close out hard because we're just terrible defending the 3 this year. Yeah,
that's where, to me, Mitch comes in.
Yeah.
Because he shows up so many things. Like, you see it in that Boston series, last Boston game in particular. I mean, the defense was just so much more stout when he was out there. And that will allow Gambler, because OG's a gambler, right? You can gamble now with Mitch as a backline of defense because he rotates so well and he covers so much ground with his wingspan. Yeah. He can get out to the three-point line. Like, when he blocked that Tatum 3, I jumped out my seat. I was like, yo, this is classic block nets monster. He clapped his hands, put his hands out. I was like, yo, let's go. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that is Mitch. I love that they got him to this point healthy. And like Tibbs said, hey, now there's no more back-to-backs. It's, hey, game 1, you might have 2 games off before game 2. This is where Mitch, to me, needs to get those 30 minutes. Yeah. He's got to shore up that defense. It just gets vastly better when he's out there in the back line of defense.
Yeah. When do you think we will get word of what the starting lineup is?
Probably Saturday with Tibbs, right? I don't think he's going to change it. I really don't. Because he's a creature of habit.
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will change it. But for me, going up against Detroit, who's a good rebounding team, the pick and roll with Cade and Duren, I just want Mitch out there to really disrupt that rhythm early. Yeah. If not, if it is Hart, go to Mitch early. Like, couple minutes, boom, Mitchell Robinson in there, switch up the look. Yeah. I don't want Detroit getting into any sort of rhythm and finding something there with that Knicks unit. I just think with Mitch, especially closing. If he's not starting, closing lineup, no questions asked. He's out there. Done.
Yeah, Tibbs is just one of those dudes who, it's almost like he won't make an adjustment until he's taken an L twice. And I'm just like, my man, please, for once, just be prophylactic and know, like, the team we have and what is going to happen here. We need Mitch.
How have you felt? There's been a lot of conversations about Tibs. You know, we always track the conversations and the trends of the year. And every year fans have issues with Tibs. Every year we hear it. But this year, with the pressure, with the expectations, I would say a good 60% of fans want to move on from him. You've seen Black Monday yesterday. Mike Budenholzer got fired. Mike Malone was fired. Mike Brown earlier this year. I mean, coaches are getting their heads on a chopping block. Where do you stand with Tibs in terms of his standing with the team?
As a Knicks fan, I want Tibs to shine, and like, I want us to do it this year. You know, like, let's beat the Celtics, let's beat the Cavs, let's go. But my logical brain is telling me that Tibs is not going to make the adjustment. He's going to have his game plan, and he's going to take it to the grave like he always does. And I just think the great coaches, they make adjustments. He's really, really, he's so stubborn. And Mike Malone is a great coach. I think I'd be ecstatic if we got Mike Malone. Yeah. But I want it for Tibs. Like, I love his personality. Right. I love him. You know, my wife was born in Salem. You know, he's from Salem. And, like, you know, I want it for Tibs. I'm a huge Tibs fan. But it's frustrating when your coach, I think Tibs sees it, but he is such a, like, I think he's loyal to his starters and loyal to his read that he won't switch. And it may be his fatal flaw.
Could be. The conversations are heating up in that regard. I don't think that they would make a move unless if they lose a series or things go bad here, like a collapse. Because to me, for them to lose this series, it would have to be a collapse. I don't see anywhere where Detroit should be favored. There's a lot of noise around Detroit. I think we're giving them a little bit too much respect, but they certainly deserve their respect. If they lose in the first round, I do believe that they could go in another direction, and they might have to, because with them being kind of locked in with this core, and yes, there's talk about the Kevin Durant stuff. I don't buy it. But they're locked in with this core for a couple of years, maybe a year or two. First thing to change should be the coach.
Yeah, I absolutely think it's got to be Tibs, because if for some reason we lose, I don't even like thinking about it, but if we do, it's got to be Tibs, because offensively he is not taking advantage of the firepower. You know, like, we traded away a lot of our defense to get offensive, and he's not taking advantage. And that's why we lost more games than we should. This team was built to be more offensive. Yeah. And, you know, he's still coaching it like it's last year's team. And he hasn't adjusted the defensive game plan either. Yeah. Despite everybody else being able to see, like, we have two players who can't rotate the way you need them to. Like, JB all the time is going the wrong direction, then going, you know, changing. And JB, unfortunately, doesn't know the rotations still sometimes. And then Towns just can't get there. Yeah. And you have to accept that with your players. You can't think everybody's going to be Paul Pierce. I think Paul Pierce really spoiled Tibs in that Paul Pierce changed and really became like a much better defensive player than when Tibs found him. But not everybody has that ability, you know? Yeah.
That to me has been the most disappointing thing. And that was, you know, the conversation when I heard in July. That was around June, July, when I had this conversation with someone close to the team, and they said, yo, you know, we're going to do this. Julius ain't coming back. We're going to make this move, you know, and because, you know, the conversation I was having with the person was like, you know, you guys are talking down about the Town situation, but this is what we're going to do. We look at what Boston is doing. And my counter to that was like, yo, like, all 5 guys on Boston are good to great defenders. All 5. Yeah. You have Drew Holiday, who's all-world. Derek White, all-world. Like, Tatum and Brown played great defense.
The worst one is Porzingis, and he can clean up.
And he can clean up. Yeah. That is why it works so well with them, because offensively they're prolific, and defensively they're just as good. This is why they had damn near record net rating last year. You know, so, but nevertheless, I still thought with Wingstop that they could help shore up some of the defensive woes. And as the season went along without Mitch, it was just so bad. It was dreadful, man. Yeah. And this is why when people are like, man, Mitch is not the savior. Yo, he just comes in and just doing his job makes a whole world of a difference. Just doing his job. Yeah. And this is why Mitch is vital for this team.
Absolutely. We missed them all season, and so that's the one reason I'm staying positive is that the one reason I'm staying positive is I'm telling myself, all right, Tibbs has been coaching and having these guys play this style of defense all year in the hopes that Mitch is coming back, knowing that we're going to live with these mistakes because this is how he wants them to play with Mitch. And I'm just like, yo, turn it on then. Let's see it.
Yeah.
Let's see this defensive vision, my man.
Facts. Well, what did you think about, the news that came out that Little Caesars Arena, Ticketmaster, only Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Ontario, Canada can only buy those tickets. If your billing zip code is out of that area, meaning if you're coming from New York, you're automatically getting refunded. Tickets are canceled. What'd you think about that?
Number one, I was like, you shook. It's whack.
Yeah.
And then I turned on camera and get it in Ohio.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, Knicks fans just got to figure out how to get it.
Yeah, yeah.
And we will. We're New Yorkers.
Yeah.
You're not keeping Knicks fans out of there.
Yeah.
It's fucking Little Caesars. Yeah, that bothered me.
Yeah.
That bothered me because it's just like, I get it. You want to protect your home court. Cool. But, like, let the fans buy tickets, man.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a fear behind that. But from what people say, it's not uncommon. Like the Carolina Hurricanes did that to the Ranger fans last year, previous years. So not uncommon, but it's just an interesting gamesmanship. I remember being there in Philly in Game 4 when we took over. And then for Game 6, the owners had to buy up the tickets. And so, hey, man, the fear of the Knicks fan is real. But, again, it kind of just speaks to why we're here, how we came together, and the community at large, man. The diehard has been diehard for years, man. Haven't won a championship in 50 years. We still here.
It is an acknowledgement of our power as Knicks fans, which I like.
Yeah.
They fear us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have you thought about round 2 yet?
No, I want to stay in the moment, stay in the moment, enjoy this, get ready for Saturday, Game 1, and then, let the series take care of itself, man.
Let's go.
Yeah. Well, what's your predictions for the series?
Look, I want to say that we're going to give this effort and we're going to sweep them, but the Knicks have been prone to negligence and mistakes this year. I think it's a 4-2 series. My idealistic hope is that we learn from those 2 losses and they get us ready for the next round.
Yeah.
This team, like we saw with this offseason, JB, Josh, they have a tendency to celebrate and enjoy, everything. And I think we are a team that will respond to hardship and adversity.
Yeah.
And I want to see that. that. But my prediction is 4-2 Knicks.
Okay.
We learn our lessons and we move on.
Okay. I'll go 4-1 with, the one being that, that Game 3 when you get the home crowd and that adversity, that momentum. There's always something about that Game 3 where, to me, there's always a storm that you got to weather early or that late run that you really got to, lock in. That's where, to me, their grit and and their resilience is going to be really tested this year. And I want to see how they respond to that. When, Detroit is barreling down, you might not be hitting your shots. The referees are allowing a little bit of extra chippiness to try to give Detroit the edge. The referees try to say, Silver tries to say there's no, there's no bias. Well, we've seen it all the time. We watch playoffs all the time. They try to give that team that's losing in the series that little bit of extra to try to climb back in. So they're going to have their backs against the wall. I want to see how they climb back out of it, but I'm going 4-1, man.
Yeah, and when you're the favorite, you have to step up when the refs try to move the game a little bit, and I just don't like that's. I think we're vulnerable Game 3, vulnerable Game 5. Those are the 2 games I'm like we could be vulnerable.
Tough ones indeed, man. So as we talk about just that independent wave of content creation, and like I said, we hit 90,000. We're branching out into new content. Knicks in the City we just launched our food review, our food collaboration show. What's some advice that you have for me or any other content creators out there?
Yeah, first of all, congratulations because we all came for the Knicks analysis because we Knicks fans, but I think I speak for Knick Nation. Like, people fell in love with your personality. You really dug this out the mud and did this for yourself. So it's cool. I think they call it like parasocial when you step out and now people are like watching a show because of your personality. I think that's what they call it in the business. And I'm excited to see you eating around the city, doing the food thing. If I put my studio hat on, the producer hat on, the one thing I think is to bridge basketball, New York sports culture with wherever you're going to eat. You know, maybe it's, I know a lot of the Yankees like Fort Charles. Maybe it's like you going to Fort Charles and eating what certain Yankees like, or whatever, what the Knicks like, or, you know, just, I think you spoke about going to a restaurant near the Cage in West Fourth.
Yeah, very good.
That's cool. Now you're bridging the basketball culture that we all know you for, and kind of taking your fans to another realm, which is food.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's an exciting adventure for sure, but definitely appreciate the advice there.
And the Jamaican spots. Like,
oh, yeah,
come on,
absolutely.
bro. Like,
that's
you
next,
gotta take us to the Jamaican spots. Like, I think your knowledge of Caribbean food is up there. And
sure.
There's not that many Caribbean food hosts that are putting people on. Like, that's one of my favorite cuisines. And so I definitely think lean into that. Sure,
absolutely, man. What's on tap for you? What's next for you?
Well, I got the film Vice is Broke is gonna come out later this year. I'm not at liberty to say the release date yet. But Mubi has acquired the film that will be coming out, so keep an eye out for Vice is Broke. I got the podcast back with my wife and Canal Street Dreams. I'm running it on YouTube, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Substack, all that. So check that out. And then I got my debut novel coming out next summer. So more on that soon.
There you go, man. Yeah. So podcast, movie, you have your YouTube, and a book.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go, man. Yeah, I'm dropping a book as well, man.
Oh, when?
Yeah, well, slated for November 1st. Me and Ian Begley are working on it.
Oh, word. What's it called?
We haven't, no title yet, but it's basically going to be about the rise of Knicks Fan TV, and then content tips for aspiring creators.
You're coming out November 1st. You need a title, bro.
I know, crazy. Man. What would you make the title?
Bro, I'd buy the Knicks Fan TV coffee table book. Like, I would.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a KFTV book, I'm copying.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm going to want some anecdotes from you, because what I want to do is, incorporate some of those tips, those best practices from the high achievers that we interact with that are part of the community. So I want to have it as like a community book for aspiring creators, aspiring people who want to build a brand, because I think it's so important nowadays, especially in this climate where, people are pivoting, reinventing themselves. You got the age of AI. Like, it's very important to build your brand up in whatever industry that you're in. So to have those anecdotes will be clutch.
Yeah, I just like being a fan of shit too. Like, I go to Summer League every year.
Yeah.
And when I go to Summer League and see people with the KFTV hat, I'm just like, yo, gang.
Yeah.
Like, I love this thing you built and how it's just spread out. So, I mean, I'll be in other cities and I've seen people with KFTV hats on.
Yeah.
So I already know what time it is.
Next time you catch up, maybe you catch up in Vegas at Summer League, man, for sure.
Got to.
There we go.
I love Summer League.
Well, listen, man, definitely appreciate you joining the show. Let's go Knicks, man.
Let's go,
really
baby.
Appreciate
Let's get this win.
Yes, sir. My guy, Eddie Huang, in the building. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Subscribe to the channel, man. Another KFTV classic production. Catch up with you guys next time.